Minimizing toxins. Are you toxic? The answer is yes. I mean, you read some of these questions and you see that if you answer yes to any of these or all of these, for the most part, most people, we're extremely toxic. We can't eliminate toxicity, but we need to maximize our ability to get rid of or detox, okay? So I'm gonna go through very simple concepts with detoxing so that you can show. People want to get into like the extreme, like, hey, what's your detox, you know, and there are some protocols that can get pretty crazy. But again, today's about simple. Today's about just kind of waking you up to what's really happening. So if you think of us as a big pool or a big bucket, right? If it's a pool, there's a filter that gets stuff out of it, right? If you're dumping so much dirt in this every single day, should you focus on trying to get a better filter, or should you stop dumping so much dirt into the pool? So before we detox, we need to minimize our exposure. Now, women tend to have more hormonal issues than men. True or true? Guess who uses more makeup and hair care? Me and Phil, or you guys? So what we want people to look at is this. When you look at what you put in your body, on your body, or around your body every single day is very important. I'm talking fragrances, I'm talking about your cleaning supplies, I'm talking about your makeup, I'm talking about your cookware, I'm talking about lotions, cleaners, medications, foods, additives, preservatives, right? They're putting this in our food supplies, our water supplies, our everything, and we're not talking about it. We're not thinking about that. So you try to do the best you can in the form of minimizing that. So here's your bucket analogy. Every little bit counts. So I always thought of like, you know, when does somebody express symptoms? It's gonna be unique for everybody. All of us at birth, we got something from mom. Sometimes this here isn't just a little drop in the bucket, it's sometimes here. And so I always challenge, like, if a kid becomes very sick very quickly, it's because they were so extremely toxic that any little bit of exposure to something, they go right into full-blown symptoms, possibly autism. So like people talk about vaccines, and I have my stance on them, and I've taught classes on this, and I'm more than happy to share my whole position on that. I won't judge anybody for what they do when it comes to vaccination, but I will tell you this, the debate's not whether they cause issues, it's that we can't link that it directly causes an issue. Meaning, it is a toxin, it has stuff in it that's bad for the body, 100%, right? So does Windex, so does stuff that we touch, so does all kinds of things, right? So it's not that they're not harming the body, it's a matter of how toxic are you before you get them. So if I have a very toxic baby that starts life with tons of things that were passed over to them from mom, and now I inject them with more stuff, the likelihood of them going into dysfunction and disease is significantly high. Doesn't mean it's directly because of the vaccine. The vaccine just happened to be the toxin that created that movement, right? That's why autism and vaccines, they'll never link, you get a vaccine, you get autism. Because probably all of us in this room got vaccines and we don't have autism. But all of us, what we're not looking at is how toxic were we pre-vaccine, and what the load is now. The issues are that there's so many more vaccines and different toxins that it's making it more likely, and the numbers are going through the roof. So personally, I'm not a fan of any vaccination, and partly because of this. My principle as far as the body goes is that it doesn't heal from outside in. So right away, I don't need anything. I don't think that God designed us and we were missing stuff. So that just doesn't sit well with me. And again, like I told you at the beginning, I don't care what research tells me, because I just know that's just my principle. And that's what I share with parents. When I meet with them and I go, okay, you're having a boy, girl, whatever, let's talk about, what's your decision? What I want is it to be your decision, your decision for your body or your kids. What I don't like, and what you guys are seeing starting to happen, is that it becomes not our decision and it's a forced thing. That's the stuff we got to be careful about, not to get on a Yeah, exactly. I mean, not to talk COVID-19, but guys, at the end of the day, I'm a freedom. Like, it's all goes back to, I just want freedom. I don't like when we use fear for our own bodies and then blame that what we're doing is harming others. That's absolutely crazy. It goes against everything God set up in nature. Now, with this, okay, this is another interesting thing to think about when it comes to toxicity and weight loss, okay? There's what's called like a rebound effect. If you don't detox your body, if you get thinner, you get sicker and your body wants to gain weight. And here's why. If you think of toxins as prisoners, I have a lot of weird analogies, I realize. Prisoners like bad guys, right? If we catch a bad guy, we want to put him in a cell, like a jail cell, right? So if you think of a fat cell as a jail cell, that's where we're storing toxins. They love fat, as I mentioned earlier. So the more prisoners we have, the more cells we have. So if these are all prisoners, toxins, right, in a body, and it's a bigger body, if this person starts to force weight loss and they get smaller, but they don't get rid of the prisoners, guess what you just did? You just concentrated toxicity even more. And some of you might have experienced this, where you've lost some weight and you felt worse. That's a toxicity issue. And so guess what the body says? I can feel better if I gain weight. So to do this correctly is you have to get rid of the prisoners, detox them out of the body, remove them, then the fat cells can go away. Then the jail cells can diminish. That's good stuff. Is it good stuff? Yeah. Detox system, I think this is one of the last slides. This is the thing that we've came up with to help with this. Again, super gentle. It's something that's like a multivitamin for your detox organs. So if I were to put this up there just because of our exposure, this would be one of those things that 2 parts, I would use this on a regular basis. I cycle in this 90 days on, month off, 90 days on. That's generally how I take this. I have some patients that take this consistently all the time, just stay on it. It keeps everything kind of moving and shaking. One part is it goes in and it unlocks the cell. So if we go back to thinking of like the cell, it goes in and if there's toxins in the cell, it starts to open it up so that these can free up. So think of it that way. Now they're in the bloodstream and we want to get them from the bloodstream to the toilet, right? So in the form of the second part that's in the box is body detox, it's called. It's activated charcoal and carbon that just goes in and binds. That's the one I mentioned earlier that I take at night. So the first part is just helping unlock and support our detoxing. Second part actually binds this and eliminates it or flushes it. And you're not going to the bathroom a ton. You're not sweating all the time. A lot of times it's meant to be a support system, not like a crazy flush out, run to the toilet thing. So as I mentioned, so here's where you can write down, take detox 3 months. There's sauna set. Like if you guys, does anybody have a sauna? They're nice. But saunas, especially the infrared saunas, are one. We used to have one in the clinic actually. That you can see that slide's an old slide. But the other thing I try to get patients to do is take one of your rooms, and as I mentioned, what you put in your body, on your body, or around your body, take the stuff, so call it your bathroom, and go in that room, take the products you use every single day, soap, shampoo, conditioner, shaving cream, lotion, makeup remover, whatever, put it on a table like this, okay, just from that one room, anything that's in there that scents, candles and different things, and then go on ewg.org again, and you're going to click on there and you can look up specifically how toxic those products are. So the goal is to laterally shift you. So I'm not saying go home and throw out all your makeup. I'm saying you might, if you want to still wear makeup, minimize it or take the current makeup, say it's, what's a makeup brand? Maybelline, CoverGirl, something. And shift it to, say, 100% Pure is a brand that I know is good. Dr. Sydney uses, and I think Beauty Counter. Dr. Sydney uses Beauty Counter. So you can talk to some of the women that are in the office and what they use. And you're looking to shift. Toothpaste, that's another big one. You want to avoid fluoride, especially if you have thyroid issues. You want to avoid chlorine. So water filtration, some sort of level to eliminate that. So in my house, I put in a whole house water filter. So literally I shower in filtered water because of the amount of toxicity that can occur there. But at the very basic level, you want to filter as much stuff out as you can. And yes, as you go through those products, look at stuff and just eliminate, and then look at stuff and go, all right, I'm going to change out my eyeliner to this better one this week. Then hit your kitchen. But I would mentally run through, or even tomorrow, when you wake up, start to finish of the day, just look at all the stuff you use. I did this once with my wife, and it was like 19 products within 15 minutes of waking up. Which is a lot. We just don't think about it when you think of toothpaste, makeups, and lotion, and all that stuff. Shower. Okay, any questions?
Where do you get the list of the good stuff to replace the bad stuff?
I actually used to give that. I forgot that. So I have a list. Actually, Heather, you might be able, if you look under the folder of like documents, type in Toxicity 101 or and we might be able to print that. Because I put on there like the good, the bad, the ugly, and there's probably newer, updated stuff that's on there. But so the true list, and I'll pull it up while I have the PowerPoint, is this EWG website.
Does that also include makeup brands? And
yes. I'll give you an example so you can see how to operate this if this will let me.
There's also, Dr. Allison did a session on
homemade, yes.
And there's also an app called Think Dirty.
Think Dirty is another great app.
It's an app. So
And you can scan stuff.
You can scan the barcode and see if it's
Perfect.
good.
Oh.
Called Think Dirty.
Any questions while I'm pulling this stuff up? Yeah, detox is a big one.
And Dr. Trump, you had juice cleanse. You talk a little more about what.
Yes.
How,
So there's different versions on fasting. Juice cleansing is great because it simplifies the process it skips digestion. And so when you do that, you're just injecting potent nutrients straight into your bloodstream, essentially. Thing to be careful about with juicing is the fruit side of it. So you want to primarily use vegetables, and then most vegetables are very potent detoxifiers of the body because of the sulfur and things that are in there. So I like to get into like the forced weight loss or forcing your metabolism to do what you want. Is I would list out like vegetables that create a bunch of juice, like cucumbers, tomatoes, and I'd always choose like one or two of those. Then I'd take like lime or lemon as my main like kind of flavoring thing. And then actually carrots is another one that's great up here. And then you throw in other things like ginger and turmeric and things that don't produce a ton of juice, but they're super potent. And that would be kind of my formula of like creating a juice. But then I recently use Southern Roots, maybe? No. Southern Juice? Southern Squeezed. They're downtown on Lady Street, juicing company. Cool people. They have 3-day juice fasts. So I go through a 3-day juice fast probably at least once a quarter. I'm probably actually going to do one coming up. And then water fasting as well. Water fasting, you've got to be a little bit tighter on, especially if you have blood sugar issues and or like diabetes. I guess that would fit in the blood sugar thing. But it's an excellent reset. And there's so many amazing things that happen when you don't stimulate your digestive system. But it ties into juice cleansing. There isn't necessarily a formula, but you could do a 24-hour, like a 1-day juice fast. You can do a 2, 3, 4, 5, 14's extreme. But what you'll find is day 3 typically, or end of day 2 is tough. I've noticed that with my water fasting and that kind of thing. Day 1's generally pretty easy. Day 2, most of the time, pretty easy. Day 3, you're kind of like missing chewing stuff. That was my main like takeaway. After 14 days, I was like, man, I just want to chew something. But yeah, did that answer like the cleansing of that? So the EWG.
I'd like to drink alkaline water, but I'm limited now to 1 bottle per day.
Okay.
And I know they have a lot of studies about, but I can tell the difference when I drink the alkaline.
Yes.
And I drink it on an
Good.
Drink it with-
Not during meals. It's another,
About that with meal.
yeah, it's another good thing as far as the food combination stuff is don't drink water during meals or up to usually an hour after meals. And that goes back to the pH stuff. So I'll give you like a tangent here.
That's what I'm doing.
You're drinking water with meals?
I drink water all day.
All the time?
Yeah.
So try to drink it, before meals and then stop. It goes back to like the digestive system. Your stomach should be a 2.5 on the acid scale. So like it goes 14's basic all the way down to 0. Stomach should be here. Water, if neutral is 7, water's usually right around there. So if you eat something, you want acid in the stomach. If you drink water or alkaline water at a 9 or 10, you're now fighting and raising the pH here. So what you're doing is you're making your body say, produce more acid, and then it can turn into acid reflux and all kinds of stuff. The acid reflux stuff, I got a bunch of little tips on that. One of them is don't drink with your meals. 2 is chew your food extremely long, meaning like absurdly amount, like chew it. Because if you swallow a hunk of steak, which we've all probably done that, where we just bit off too much and there's no teeth down here. So it literally, your stomach is literally just trying to beat the heck out of that. This is ewg.org. This is what so there's a home page. You scroll down to EWG Skin Deep Guide to Cosmetics. And there's other cool resources on this, but then you'll go to this search right here. And I'll just look up something like Colgate. And you can get super specific, like Colgate whitening, blah, 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 blah. But we'll see what pops up here. And what it'll do is if you want something like more generic on what's good, so here you go. Here's a couple examples. So it's ranking these two, a 3 and a 4. You want it to be a 1, 2, or 0 to 1 to 2. Ideally, again, 0 on the toxicity. So if we click on this 4, this is just Colgate Zero Toothpaste Clear Gel. It'll go down and it'll tell you what's the concerns. So low cancer, you'll see that it says nothing in it is concern for cancer. Low on the developmental or reproductive. High in allergy and immunotoxicity. Now let's say you have allergies. Yeah, say you're an allergic, right? Do you think your allergy doctor is pointing out that your toothpaste that you're using twice a day to 3 times a day might be a reason that you're not reversing allergies? And then it'll go further. It'll tell you what inside of it is the problem. So like sodium fluoride, and it'll tell you the concern over to the right here, developmental reproductive toxicity. So it's crazy when you look at the stuff, and then it'll give you some of the good stuff. Wow. I love that. Yeah, there's the scale. So best is EWG verified, so that's the 0, and then it goes 1, 2, and then there's your yellows. But you'd be surprised at some of your makeups and things that you use. Like people have hormonal issues. Then you look at your makeup, it's like, this is highly, hormone suppressing. And it's like, how is that legal? In Europe, they've banned something like 1,200 plus products that we still use. Oh, wow. Just by their yep, this doesn't pass any of the ingredient testing that works.
Does this site list the EWG?
If I type in now just generic like toothpaste, I bet it'll rank it into what do they recommend. That would be the way to do it. Instead of Colgate, you'd go, all right, I just want toothpaste, and there you go. So there's the ones that they recommend that are EWG if you're looking to switch your toothpaste. Pretty cool.
And you can buy these like on Amazon?
Probably have to, yeah. I mean, imagine, so a lot of them will be at Whole Foods and stuff like that, but probably Amazon or their websites themselves. Any other questions?
What's alkaline water?
Alkaline water is higher than neutral water. So neutral water is somewhere around 7. Alkaline takes the basic up, so like a 9 on the pH scale. So what they found is disease loves acidity. So you try to be more alkaline in general because a lot of foods and like sugar is very acidic. So if you can pump that up, it's great. Downside is when you're eating. So that's why you do want to do it on empty stomachs and things of that nature. Now again, what's also interesting about how amazing the body is the bloodstream has to stay at a certain pH. So if it starts to fluctuate at all, it sacrifices everything it can to be at a certain pH. And I want to say the pH of the blood is like 7.2. So for example, we're eating tons of sugar or toxicities. That's why our body goes into freak out mode, to keep our bloodstream at that pH. And one of the things it does, just to go back into like osteoporosis, it steals calcium from the bone to try to make things more basic. And so it just squeezes things from every organ it possibly can to make it be neutral, 7.2.